Hey Sketchy friends, so I've got a slightly different video for you today, and it's a bit more of a kind of vloggy kind of thing. I've been wanting to do something like this again for ages. I used to do videos like this back in the day. There's Tex the cat, and just thought it would be fun to take you guys with me on a little sketching trip. So I'm leaving the house here. And this is my pride and joy, my Harley Davidson, which has been my life dream to own. And I finally got one. I passed my motorbike test yesterday. I don't know when you guys are going to watch this actually, but anyway, I've just passed my motorbike license. So I'm very happy about that. So I'm 100% completely street legal now. I was before, but I was on a learner's license and that was going to run out. And yes, you can ride a 1200cc Harley Davidson on a learner's license here in South Africa. So anyway, we're using the car today. I'm not going on the bike, but it's a beautiful, crisp winter's day here in Johannesburg. Probably about 10 degrees Celsius. Hello. And but it should warm up, but it's feeling quite nippy at the moment, but nothing compared to the European winters that I am used to. So here we go. Here's the sat nav. It's going to take me about an hour to get there, and I'm out on the road, getting out of Joburg into the countryside, out to a place called Hartbeespoort, which is in Northwest Province. In Johannesburg, we're in Gauteng Province. So this is the next one up. And there's this beautiful dam called Hartbeespoort Dam. So it's about, well, as you saw, it's about an hour's drive, somewhere between 45 and an hour's drive. And this is the dam wall. And yes, that is an arch that looks suspiciously like a mini Arc de Triomphe. The design of this apparently is definitely based on the Arc de Triomphe. Excuse my dodgy camera skills here. I don't think my phone was balanced very well on my gimbal. But yeah, it's just beautiful. It's like a little slice of Parisian glamour that we've got here on this African dam. But it is a beautiful area. So it's nice to come here. I've sketched this arch once, but very, very simply. And for those of you who have my very first ebook, Sketchy Adventures Around the World, you might remember a little sketch in the South African chapter with this arch, but I haven't really attempted it in any meaningful way and actually sitting on the bridge here. So as you can see, beautiful views of the water spilling out into the Crocodile River there. And this is the dam wall. And we're just looking for a good view at the moment, just trying to find where we can sit and sketch. This was an option, but then we decided to move over to the other side. Here's a little video of me just to prove I am here. This is me. So yeah, we sat over the other side of the road. So it's quite a narrow pavement and the cars are very, very close by. There was a couple of times where I thought they were almost clipping my sketchbook. So yeah, definitely got a face full of car fumes for these couple of hours that I was drawing. I am using a GoPro here to film the sketch. And to be honest with you, I did not think this was going to come out very well at all, but I was quite surprised when I watched the footage back, and it came out really, really well. So I'm very happy with that. Obviously, I've time-lapsed this just so you guys don't have to sit through the whole thing in real time. So I'm using my Hahnemuhle watercolor sketchbook here, not the 100% cotton version, the other version. And this is the A4 landscape. So whilst this is quite a cumbersome size sometimes, I do actually really like how much space you have to kind of collage a bit of sketching from the day across the two pages. And that's kind of what I'm going to end up with at the end of this video. So as usual, I've got my basic shapes in just to sort of see where everything's fitting and get the sweep of the perspective, which is not 100% right on the road there, but it's good enough for our purposes of capturing the idea of this scene. And I am using my favorite pen currently, which is the Hongdian Fude fountain pen. It's just one that I got a couple years back now from Amazon. They do still sell them. I'm hoping once I go back to the UK in July, August, that I can buy another one or two, because they're not too expensive. Maybe like 20 to 30 pounds from the top of my head, so £25, something like that, which is probably like I never know with the fluctuating exchange rates, but let's just say something like 32 US dollars, something around there probably. And I just really like it. It just works really nicely. But I did lose this one for a while and I was kind of a bit heartbroken. So, but I did find, well, Duncan found it in between the sofa couches. So I think I must have lost it when I was drawing the living room or drawing the cat or something. So luckily he did find it a couple of weeks later. But I think it's made me realize that it wouldn't be such a bad idea maybe to at least just have one spare one just in case this one does go missing, because it's quite, well, you just can't get them in this country, so it would be difficult to get my hands on a replacement one. So yeah, I'm going to have one in stock. Inside the pen is platinum carbon ink, and if any of you have seen my urban sketching supplies video, which has probably come out before this one, but I'm a bit out of whack now, so I'm not sure. But if it hasn't come out yet, it's coming out very, very soon. What's in my urban sketching kit for 2025, then you'll see me talk about that particular ink. So, you know, my bollards get a bit dodgy sketching wise here, but you'll see how it's like, it really actually doesn't matter to the end sketch, like how precisely I've sketched these posts or not sketch them. It's more about the nice sweep of that perspective. It doesn't really matter too much how well it's drawn, if that makes sense, but it's more about that kind of sense of depth and perspective that's far more important. And just as usual, just scribbling in a bit of the foliage in the background just to remind myself where that's all going to be. Just when it comes to the painting stage. If I've got a double page like this and I know I'm going to do a whole spread, I do try and extend the sketch over the fold. It was a bit of an afterthought there, as you can see, but I do try and extend it just so it doesn't sort of end harshly at the crease. And I wasn't too happy with my first attempts at painting or the colour that I was adding here. Unfortunately, my tin is quite dirty, and so the yellow ochre or the gold ochre, whatever it is I've put down, had a bit of a tinge of green to it, and it just didn't look very nice at all. I was like, oh God. I didn't mind the drawing too much, but then I got to the painting and I was like, oh, I actually really need to clean my tin and sort of be a bit more careful about that. But I was just hoping that I could rescue it. You've just got to be patient with watercolour. If you don't like the first washes you put down, just to sort of leave it to dry, and then hopefully you can sort of rectify it afterwards. So that's what I was hoping at this stage. I was really not happy with how this was going at all. And I was like, oh, of course, because I'm filming it, of course it's not going to go right. But spoiler alert, I was like kind of happy with it at the end, so it was okay. So nice big brush here, guys, like nice bit of water and paint on here, not being too finicky, being quite loose with the painting, sort of changing my colour as I go. I cannot describe to you how awkward it was sitting on this narrow pavement. It was blimmin' cold as well, very windy, up high, cars going past us constantly, and then with a GoPro in between my arms and trying to sketch around it. It was not nice, but I persevered and I'm glad I did. This colour here I'm using is Daniel Smith Deep Gold, Quinn Deep Gold, I think, and it's really just a really, really versatile, very nice colour. So I did prefer that to the yellow ochre I think I'd put on initially on the archway. But I wanted them to be slightly different shades anyway, the wall and the archway, so it's okay. And I've run out of serpentine green now, which I keep meaning to fill, and then every time I sketch, I'm like, oh yeah, I haven't bought one yet. And then I keep forgetting. So I actually, shock horror, mixed my green, that top green, from some kind of yellow and blue. But yeah, it's not come out as yellowish as I would have liked. But again, with the positioning of the sun and the amount of like factors trying to balance this on my lap, trying to film, I was being a bit slapdash if I'm honest. So as I said, I didn't really have many high hopes for this sketch, but it did actually come out all right in the end. I'm just adding these green barriers here as well as I can do with my little dagger brush. But you can see I'm not being too like finicky with the painting, you know, it kind of adds to it a little bit of a looser feel, so it doesn't have to be perfect. As you saw me painting that red sign, not in the lines or anything like that. And I thought I would add some sky to this one. Don't always, but I thought it would sort of reflect the blue that's already in the arch, just to carry that blue through the scene. It's quite nice. And I thought I'd leave the posts white because they were quite bright in the sun. So I thought I'd leave them the white of the page just to kind of give a bit of contrast. I'm just trying to get some shadows on the edge of the curbway there and just a feel of the sunlight casting the shadows of the posts. Again, it's not too precise or anything, but you get the idea, you get the feeling. That's kind of what sketching's about, really. It's just providing that feeling. It doesn't have to be exact. I'm just using my fountain pen again and adding some thicker black lines in places. Looking for sort of any areas I can enhance just to make it look a bit better. And as you can see, just putting thick black lines under some of those ledges really makes it pop a lot more. So that's definitely a big tip to look for in your own sketches as well. And now I've just got a grey marker, just adding a few little shadow areas in places. And I only had one clip, so the facing page keeps blowing in the wind, so sorry about that. I don't know where all my clips have gone, as usual. It's like scarves and lighters. What else goes missing? Pens, I suppose, but scarves and lighters and umbrellas. It's just like never-ending black hole for those items. Certainly when I was living in London, it was like every day I was just losing one of those things, back in the days when I used to smoke as well. So yeah, scarves, umbrellas, lighters. Definitely lighters. Everyone would steal your lighter. So now these days with urban sketching, it's your bulldog clips. Those go missing. So yeah, just again, looking for any other extra details I can add to the scene. And there is some kind of like metal work on the side of this wall. It's basically a lot of steps all the way down to the shore of the dam. So just trying to get that idea in. Didn't draw it very well. I was kind of looking into the sun a little bit at this stage, so I couldn't really see what was going on. You see how that little white line in the foliage really makes it kind of pop forward as well. So that's a stylistic thing, obviously, not very realistic, but I quite like doing that. And then there was this really cool, these cool lights all the way down the bridge wall, and they kind of had lion faces on them with the rings through their mouths, but then also the legs were ended in like paws or feet. It was quite cool. So I was like, oh, I really want to add that to my sketchbook spread. So this is like a singular item by itself, just a detail pulled out from the bridge and just adding it into the sketchbook spread. And I decided to draw this one. Obviously, I drew a bit in pencil, but I drew in fine liner because I just wanted it to be a little bit more precise and not too loose and sketchy. So that's why I'm using the fine liner rather than my fountain pen. I just like to have both with me, a fountain pen and a fine liner, just in case. I think it's always good to have backup tools. So again, sorry for the lighting, but when you're sketching or filming on location and you've got very limited places to sit, you just have to deal with how it is. But again, I think it's come out a lot better than I was expecting because I could only see through the little screen on the GoPro, so it's quite difficult to see. So it was kind of like, oh well, I'll just put it here and let's just hope for the best. So, but I think it came out all right. I think you can see quite nicely what's going on. Now this thing is pretty much all silver, so it's like quite difficult to make it look interesting with the watercolor. I'm just using my water brush here because it just felt like more controllable than using my brush and water. Just trying to be a bit more precise. And I'm just desperately trying to hold this page down with my wrist whilst I'm painting as well, which is just another thing to to worry about. But yeah, you can see I'm just sort of using more of a dull purple colour rather than a straight up grey for this light. It just makes it look a bit more interesting. But yeah, quite tricky to make it look super dynamic. So I'm just trying to concentrate on adding contrast where I can, just so that at least it has got some darks. And then you can see I've left the white of the page in some areas just to give it a bit of a highlight. And I'm even using my black brush pen here as well, just to try and emphasize some of the darker parts. Again, it's just in an attempt to give it more contrast and just make it look more interesting on the page. So here's my filming setup. So the board I was drawing on was too thin for the GoPro clamp, so I've got a good old deck of playing cards there. Just so and it actually worked really well. The clamp is like quite secure to the board now. There's quite a stiff sort of arm there. So yeah, I was pleasantly surprised at how not wobbly it was. So this is the finished sketch, at least for this part of the day anyway. And I was quite happy with how it came out. I think it came together in the end, and I like the detail of adding the lamp, which you can see in the shot now. So yeah, gorgeous location to spend a couple of hours drawing, even if we did have to inhale a few car fumes in the process. But it's a very large dam, so people like sort of sailing their boats around the water, and there's a lot of houses along the edge and that kind of thing. But this arch is just beautiful. I don't know a huge amount about it, aside from it is based on the Arc de Triomphe, and they started building in 1902, but then various wars and things got in the way. So I will put on screen when it was finished being built. So after that, we went to a nearby lodge called Mount Amanzi. This is where my friend who I met, she was staying for a few days. So I've never been in here, so I was just sort of walking around just to see what it was like. Lots of nice little units along the Crocodile River here. From down here, you can see that wall up there that I'm going to point to just now. That is where we were sitting up there. You can see the archway on the top. So that's where we were sitting drawing. And then I was really hungry. So in one of these beautiful African boma type constructions in the restaurant, which you can see is pretty much empty because it's midweek and it's winter and there's not many people around at all, but which, you know, was kind of nice. We kind of had the place to ourselves pretty much. And of course, I had to celebrate with a beer. Not my favorite beer, but you know, it's a nice light beer just to take the edge off the day and just to kick back and relax. So I thought I'd finish off because I have this space here, so I thought it might be nice just to add my drink here. I did order a sandwich as well, so I do end up adding that. So I think it's quite a nice addition to the spread when you've got some architectural stuff or some scenic stuff, and then you've got the story of food and drink, which is obviously usually quite important to our days as well, especially if we're out and about. So I'm just sort of adding a greenish mixture here, again with the big brush. I'm trying to be quite loose, trying to leave some areas of the page white just to indicate some reflections. Getting that nice bit of red there on the label. So I drew this in pencil and then decided to go straight in with paint because I thought that'd be quite nice, but I do end up adding a bit of ink anyway. But if it's not something you do too much of, do try drawing just in pencil and then using watercolor. It definitely gives a different effect to your sketch, and it's worth trying just to see what it looks like, you know. So I'm not being like overly careful with this drawing. I just wanted to have a nice loose vibe and just to kind of give the, you know, it's just part of the story really. So I wasn't being too careful. I'm just using my white correction pen there just to add the lettering because it's quite large on the label, so the correction pen was okay. But for smaller stuff, I used the white gel pen. And then, to be honest with you, I just wanted to eat my sandwich without worrying about filming too much. But then I was drawing and eating, but not filming. So anyway, this is the finished spread. So my beer and my chicken mayo sandwich, which also came out a bit of a weird color because I started painting it and the fountain pen ink was still wet on the page. So it's got a bit of an interesting tinge to it. But overall, I was quite happy with the spread. And then it was time for me to leave, really. So I saw these little guys messing about outside. So I thought I'd share them with you. We get a lot of monkeys all around these kind of places. Obviously looking for the sandwich scraps, maybe some beer scraps, who knows, but they're super cool. And then just walking back to my little car because it's time to drive back to Johannesburg. But it was a super awesome day spent with my friend sketching at Hartbeespoort Dam. And I hope you guys enjoyed sort of coming along with me and just sort of seeing just a tiny bit of the beautiful scenery here in Johannesburg. It actually turned out to be quite a nice warm day in the end, 21 degrees, nothing wrong with that. And as you can notice here, the traffic lights are not working. This is a very familiar scene for us here in Johannesburg, but there's a system. It doesn't always work as planned, but if you ever visit South Africa, you'll see that the traffic lights being out is a very familiar sight, so we just make the best of it. But yeah, really happy with how this spread turned out. I had a really great day, really enjoyed it. And if you haven't seen my video yet, which may not be out yet, might be the next one that's coming out, do check out my urban sketching supplies, because I go through everything that I carry with me, which isn't a great deal, I don't think. I do try and be relatively minimalist, and I think you will enjoy seeing all of the different tools that I use. And if you want to learn how to draw or how to sketch in ink and watercolor, then do check out my online course, Sketch Your Adventures. All of the links, as per usual, are in the description below, and I'll see you in the next video.